Hi, everyone, and welcome. I see we have our members have started to sign in. While we and give a moment for the rest of the attendees to sign in, I'm going to ask that you just use your chat function to let us know who you are and where you are from. So a warm welcome to everyone that has just signed in. If you just want to pop us a chat using the chat function at the bottom of your screen, just let us know who you are and where you are from. We are going to just give it a few moments to let the rest of the participants sign in. Okay, we have our first person online, Bernice from Pretoria, welcome. I see another, let's just have a look. If you just want to use your chat function for those who signed in. Hi, Mariska from Port Elizabeth. Let's just get everyone to sign in. So we are just going to give it a moment. We have Caitlin from PE as well. Welcome. Thank you for joining. So if you've just signed in, we are allowing the participants to still register and get on. While we wait, use your chat function just to say who you are and where you're from. Hi, Pierre from Stellenbosch University. We have Chris from Stellenbosch as well. Welcome, everyone. So for those of you who have just signed in, we are using the chat function just to let us know who you are and where you're from. We have Vuyo from Johannesburg, Yashil also from Johannesburg. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to hope I say this name correct, Konke from KwaZulu-Natal, and we have Gugu from Cape Town. I do apologize if I mispronounce any names. So for those of you who have just signed in, we are using the chat function just to let us know who you are and where you are from. We will give it a moment or two to let the rest of the participants sign in. And for those of you who are online right now, I would just like to say we are going to have this recording available on our YouTube Golden Key Southern Africa channel. So if you would like to watch a recording of this, you're more than welcome to go onto YouTube and search under the Golden Key Southern Africa channel. We have Dr. Mzuko from KZN, and we have, I think it's Likapa from the University of the Free State, Nishiti from UKZN. Welcome everyone and thank you for joining. We are just giving it a few moments to allow the rest of the participants to sign in. Okay, I think I should actually begin. I know everyone at this time of the day is already zoned out. So I think we should start with the webinar now. So hello and welcome to the newly launched Golden Key Academy, a place of online learning developed by Golden Key specially for you, our members. It has been created in response to feedback from our members telling us that they want more career support and expert guidance. We listened and have created a website filled with videos, articles, and ebooks. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, please do. One of the best things we are offering as part of Golden Key Academy is a packed schedule of live webinars like this one. We are doing our best to select speakers and topics that are relevant to you, our member. So please feel free to give us feedback at any time if you would like to learn anything specific by emailing thoughtleaders@goldenkey.org. I will put that in the chat function. So if you would like to provide us with feedback on what you would like more information on or webinars on, please send us an email to thoughtleaders@goldenkey.org. Today, we will be focusing on staying the course, keeping to your 5-year plan with the amazing Pastor Juanita Kapp. Pastor Juanita is an ordained minister in the Full Gospel Church. She has been a full-time minister for the last 13 years. She is a Master of Theology student at Northwest University. She is also a CPSC Level 5 religious professional. Her hobbies include doing karate, singing, songwriting, and doing research. Her passion is to help individuals achieve their goals, and she loves being involved in community upliftment. Ladies and gentlemen, I hand you over to Pastor Juanita Kapp.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our webinar this evening. Just want to share my screen so that we can get started. Tonight, we are going to talk about staying the course, keeping to your 5-year plan. I want to walk through each and every slide with you this evening. Let me just see. There we go. Let's start. We are at the end of a year. We are standing on the brink of a new season, and we are asking what is next. What is our plan for 2021? What is our next challenge? So our objectives this evening, while we discuss our 5-year plan, is to discuss the 5-year plan model, the history behind the 5-year plan concept, contemporary versions of the 5-year plan, how to apply this concept in our contextual setting and private lives, how to stay accountable, what is a realistic 5-year plan, what should the chief focus be of your 5-year plan, and the act of applying natural principles in the implementation of the 5-year plan. Now, the 5-year plan model, the history behind the 5-year plan concept is that it was developed by Joseph Stalin in the late 1920s, and he formulated it because he had an economic agenda in order to safeguard his country. He wanted to boost the Soviet Union's defenses. He wanted to build up the industry. So factories were modernized, and he wanted to increase iron production by 200% and 335%. He also wanted to generate power with. But this had a very negative effect on the peasants and the farming community. And it turned out to be a dire situation for the country. Now, the term kulak was used to describe a peasant or a farmer who owned more than 8 acres of land. And these people were targets for Stalin's plans because they started rebelling. They didn't want to hand over their cattle. They started to rather slaughter the cattle instead of handing it over. And in the event of Stalin trying to protect his country, he was destroying it. So his intentions and the application of his plan didn't align. And it turned out to be a disaster. We might not even know this, but there are contemporary versions of the 5-year plan. China's first 5-year plan spanned from 1953 to 1957. Their goals were to increase the output in their industries of iron and steel, but their plans also failed because, again, people with powerful positions abused their power, as we've seen so often in history, and there was no monitoring of resources. Currently, China has a new 5-year plan, which will span from 2020 to 2025. And they aim to take their industries from labor-intensive workshops to technology-intensive powerhouses. And immediately for me, there is a red light that goes on because I see another upheaval approaching. This would probably mean that there would be the implementation of retrenchment of workers. Now, the world is already in turmoil as it is. And very important to your plan fabrication process would be to be aware of what is currently happening in the world itself. What new trends are being applied? Which new movements have come to life? Make your 5-year plan contemporary for your purposes. Have your finger on the pulse of societal movement. What can we learn from others' mistakes? 2 lessons present themselves. We may not agree with their methods, and we certainly don't, but we can learn through their experiences, and we can learn principles from their failures so as to not make the same mistakes. We should keep in mind that the main goal was to increase production, to protect the country, to achieve new goals. And these are principles we can apply in our own lives, in our context. We do not agree with Stalin's methods, certainly not. Yet in this instance, we can eat the fish and spit out the bones. We refocus our own goals. We draw principles from history. Then we apply them. So we may ask now, what is the principle that comes to the fore here? I would say for me personally, protect what is yours, your goal, your life, your dream. But remember and be careful. It is possible that sometimes we have the best of intentions, but we do the right thing in the wrong way. So our intention needs to match the application that we take, the steps that we take to fulfill our 5-year plan. How to apply this concept in our setting, in our private lives? The main lesson here for today is that it's not about the amount of years that we put to reaching our goals, not really about 5 years. It's about the concept of taking that goal, putting objectives together, and then working towards reaching our dream. It's about the fact that we have a clear goal in place. How will we do it? What will we do? Because clear goals bring clear objectives. Clear objectives is a recipe for success. So we know what we want and we go after it. Einstein said doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is a mild form of insanity. So very clearly, we can say this evening, if something doesn't work, try something else. If an objective doesn't fit into your 5-year plan, change it. It's your goal. It's your plan. It's your dream. How to stay accountable. I always say, and I saw a post about that as well the other day, I don't know who quoted it. Someone once said, there are 2 things in life that matter. That is your attitude and your effort. Firstly, I want to encourage all of us this evening to draw from the concepts and the principles that life presents us with. We need to be accountable to ourselves before we become accountable to others. You are the maker or the breaker of your future. I quote Ronald Jones, who did a webinar for Golden Key recently. He said, if you want to become successful in your life, when you approach your life, you need to build in silence. Because he has found, and others have found previously, that people don't always understand, even people that are close to you. They are not always going to understand your goal, your purpose, your drive. Please do yourself a favor and access his webinar on the Golden Key YouTube channel. I agree wholeheartedly with his statement, and I add, build in silence, yes, but also get yourself a mentor. How to stay accountable. Who and what is a mentor? Please see my personal acronym for the word mentor below. It is someone who shares your passion for your life goals. It is someone who believes in you and who wants to assist you in achieving your goal. I find it's beneficial if you choose someone that you already know and trust. My acronym for mentor, I'm going to explain it to you. Maybe it will find a place in your heart and you can apply it in your search for a mentor. Remember, it's your 5-year plan. My enthusiastic, your mentor should be someone who grasps your vision, who can be excited with you, someone that's nurturing. Your mentor is there to guide and lead you, not to take over, but to mentor you, to give you advice. And mostly we follow their advice because they've been there, they've done that. A teacher, it's a person that has progressed through life and that has achieved. Of recommendation and reward. Your mentor recommends certain things to you, and when you achieve success, I want to say that success automatically flows both ways. Now, what is a realistic 5-year plan? It depends. There are so many psychological factors involved in the life of each human being that what seems realistic to one individual might not make sense to another. And that is because of preconceptions, firstly, on life, what really matters. For some people, they are driven by finances. Finances are everything, it's important to them. That is how they approach life. They've shaped their lives according to it, which is not wrong. To others, their focus is on their families. There's an emotional well-being that is important. Here, personality plays a major role. Some people like to focus on tasks, while other people like to focus on other people. And definitely then, what seems realistic to the one person might not seem realistic to the next. So there's no correct or incorrect answer here. A person with preconceptions acts from his worldview. Now, worldviews are of a diverse nature. And this will be determined in which setting an individual grew up. That shapes our worldviews. It shapes us into the people that we are. State of health. Can the person physically complete certain tasks or not? A person who has health issues, for instance, cannot decide to become a world-class athlete. His 5-year plan will differ from someone who is not in that state of health. So we have to, in that sense, look at the state of the health of a person. If a person has health issues, they can't decide they want to go and be a stuntman on movie sets, they can try something else that they are good at. Also important, life dynamic. Are there any set values and morals? What is the inherent character of the person? Is the person a person of principle? Is his yes, yes, and his no, no? We have to come to a place where we can say no when it's necessary and when we say yes. But if we've made a decision, then we stay with that decision. That will all impact your 5-year plan. What is the internal drive that you are experiencing? What drives a person and why? Why does it create enthusiasm? Some people like the MotoGP. Other people want to go into the arts. They want to visit art galleries and they want to start selling art or making art. What is the internal drive? What gets us excited and what motivates us? What is a realistic 5-year plan? It will differ. Optimist, realist, pessimist. I want to spend some time to explain the difference between these three people. An optimist will set goals that would seem impossible to reach. I saw a picture the other day, a post, and it said, she believed she could, so she did. You give those people a VW Beetle, and I'm talking an old model, 1980 model, and they will race that vehicle like a Ferrari because they believe whatever they've decided they are going to do, they will attain their goal. That's the optimistic genre. The realist, which there's no right or wrong here. The realist is the person who looks at the resources. This person makes the calculations accordingly. They decide beforehand for themselves what the outcome will be. And that is what it is because they have decided psychologically what the outcome will be. That is what they've subconsciously decided initially would happen. A pessimist is a person that is normally a break in a group or possibly in their own life. They are the break of the operation of the goal of the proceedings. This person is negative and does not have the energy for anything ever. A pessimist is his or her own worst enemy. And I'm not talking about burnout for all of us at the end of the year. We've had a tough 2020. We've faced so many obstacles. God brought us through all of it. But the pessimist is the person that is negative. They can stand in front of the most beautiful vehicle and receive it for free, and they will still find fault with it. Now I'm going to use a little illustration about a horse in a room, and I want to illustrate to you how an optimist, a realist, and a pessimist will react. The optimist will come into the room. It is his lifelong dream to have a horse. He's always wanted a horse. He comes into the room It's a very small room, 4x4, small room. The horse is standing still. It can't even move. The optimist opens the door. He sees this horse and he's so happy. He's elated. He doesn't even notice that in the interim, while somebody was putting the horse inside, the horse had to go to the bathroom. It had to, the call of nature was very strong. He didn't even realize that the horse was there. The horse, he just sees the horse. That is the optimist. The realist is the person that opens the door, that looks at the structure of the room, that starts to make the calculations, that says to his or herself, the horse is not going to fit into this room. The horse needs approximately so and so many hectares to live. We are going to have to build a structure for it. We are going to have to buy feed tomorrow. We'll have to have someone come and clean the room. That is the realist. The pessimist is the person that walks into the room and they don't notice the horse. All they notice is the mess. All they notice is that the room is not the way that it was before. And your 5-year plan is similar to this illustration because no plan is perfect. You might open the door and the horse will be there, but there might also be a bit of a mess. And we have to approach these things and see what will happen if we change our mindset. Will we reach our goals sooner if we change our viewpoint? What should the chief focus be? You. You, you, you. You are the chief focus of your 5-year plan. It's all about you. You are not doing this for your country or for some economic or political agenda. It's your life. You are allowed to be selfish about your dream as long as you uphold good morals and values. And I wrote here on the slide, never ever step on others in order to get ahead. Remember, they also have a 5-year plan. They also have a dream and a goal. It's very important to be a servant in your community. It will open big doors for you. Remember that leaders are servants before they become leaders. And be constant. Be the same person at the supermarket, on campus, at church. Be who you are. You will reach your goals sooner if you have one true version of yourself. Because people want authenticity. They are tired of that which is fake. So if you are yourself, others will want to help you reach your goal. What should the chief focus be? And I'm going to use an illustration of my life. Remember, this is my formula for my life. It might not be the same for you, but use it as a principle. Use it as a starting point. If you hear where it comes from my side, you can take the principle of what I've applied in my life and maybe just tweak it a little bit to fit into your life. I'm a pastor of a church. I have a list of tasks to complete every week, and I'm in charge of various departments at the church. But I've decided 13 years ago that I am the pastor of the church and therefore I clean the church. It's my responsibility as the shepherd of the flock to make sure that the church is clean and safe. And that was even before the COVID. It keeps me grounded. It keeps my goals clear and it reminds me where I started. I get my best ideas when I'm doing my tasks at the church. Other tasks in the various ministries are delegated, but this one task keeps me humble. And I want to encourage you this evening to do something. Have a task in your life that will keep you humble as you work towards your 5-year goal. What should the chief focus be? You are the chief focus. It is important for you to grow. It is important for you to fit into your community, for you to be involved. And I wrote here this evening, if you are happy, your happiness matters. If you are happy, the people around you will also be happy. The act of applying natural principles in the implementation of the 5-year plan. Why do we have a 5-year plan? Why? Why should we plan? Why should we prepare? I think we might have a better answer this time around, and we might ponder a little bit longer on this question after 2020, because all of us went into 2020 with a clear vision and a clear goal for the year, and all of a sudden we were in lockdown. Why should we plan? Why should we prepare? It gives us direction. What is the difference between a swamp and a river? A river has banks so that the water can flow. So I want us to imagine this evening we are seeing the banks of a river and we are seeing fresh water flowing, and it's beautiful and it's amazing and it's refreshing to us. Your 5-year plan is like the banks of that river. If your river doesn't have banks, it becomes a swamp. So a swamp has no banks, it's stagnant, it stinks. A swamp contains serious health issues. But if we have banks in the form of a 5-year plan that is keeping us going towards our goal, the water will be fresh. It gives us vision. It keeps us moving forward. It gives us something to work for and something to achieve. It motivates us towards innovative living. But most importantly, it activates our abilities. My slogan for life, my personal slogan, and I teach my children this, is that #winners work. If you work at something long enough, you will succeed. And it's not always about winning, it's about learning. It's about changing. It's about, as we've learned from all the resources this year, adapting, being flexible. The act of applying natural principles. We should realize there is always a certain amount of work involved. If you want to achieve, you have to attempt, you have to begin. If you want to excel, you have to exert yourself. Keep momentum. Our mind is our biggest obstacle sometimes. If you don't begin, you will stagnate. If you have momentum, stay busy. I want to share a testimony with you. When we went skydiving in 2002, my daughter was 2 years old at the time. We went for 3 days training, and they give you all the training that you need to do. They show you how they pack the suit. They show you how you should steer your parachute. They give you all the training that you need. They put into those 3 days. You know exactly what is expected of you. And you are so excited. You can't even wait now just to get onto that plane and to experience what it is to skydive. And we did a static line jump. We actually did 3 static line jumps in that week. So with a static line jump, it means that the aeroplane actually deploys your parachute. So you are fastened to the plane, and there is a mechanism that you put your feet out of the door of the plane. You hold onto the wing. When they say it's time, you let go of your legs. Then the wind takes you, the momentum. You hold for 2001, 2002, until you get to 2005, and then they show you, let go. And then the plane actually opens your parachute. And that was a wonderful experience. But with us in the group, there was a man, and I'm not sure if he panicked or if he maybe had anxiety. I don't know what happened, but he was the one who didn't steer his parachute. He landed up falling through the roof of a house of a settlement nearby, and he broke his leg in 10 places, which was unnecessary. And I learned a principle from that. I learned something that day. I learned that if I don't steer my life, the wind will take me anywhere. And it's the same for us this evening. If we don't steer our lives, if we are not actively busy working in our lives toward our future, life will just take us where it wants to take us. So always go the extra mile because it gets you to your goal. Your life is like a field. If you plant, that's a universal principle, you will harvest. We know it's a process. We plant for different reasons. We have different fields and harvests. We have different talents. Formulate your 5-year plan according to your talents. And I want to elaborate on these points. If you plant, you will harvest. Planting seeds and getting a harvest takes a great amount of work. We all plant for different reasons. There's different reasons for us, for the things that we do. Some of us do it for our children. Some of us do it for our career. Some of us do it for our family. We all have different reasons for the things that we try and attempt in that instance to reach our goal. There is a difference between our fields. And I think sometimes we don't realize that we are all unique. And it's okay to have different fields. A sunflower field, for instance, is not the same as a cornfield. A sunflower field doesn't look the same when it's harvested as a cornfield does. A cornfield, of course, goes dry, yes, and then they are ready to harvest. But if you ever looked at the sunflower field when it's ready for harvest, it looks so unpromising. It looks dry. It looks dead. The flowers' heads have tilted and it's black. Everything is black and it doesn't look promising. No one with a natural eye would be able to say, if they didn't know anything about farming, that actually there is a harvest contained in that flower. But yet, in order for the harvest to be ready on that sunflower field, it has to come to that point. So we can never, with our 5-year plan, look at our field. Oh, we have a sunflower field. It looks dry. It looks dead. It doesn't look promising. But look at my friend's field. He has a cornfield and his field is looking a little bit better. We plant for different reasons. We have different fields. We have different harvests. You should never compare yourself to someone else. Your 5-year plan, your life journey is unique. And that's why we have different talents. Our fields look different. Our fields are planted differently. They are harvested differently. They produce different crops. If you are great at cooking and you don't do well in sports, don't make it your 5-year plan to become the 100-meter gold medal winner at the Olympics. Take extra cooking lessons and develop the skills that you already have. Always learn new skills and develop as an individual. Absolutely. I'm all for that. I apply that in my own life. But make your 5-year plan about something that you are good at. Thereby, you are going to make sure that you set yourself up for success and not failure, because you are going to stay excited about your project. So formulate your 5-year plan according to your talent and keep at it. What are the warning signs of a failure that is approaching? If you put it off and if you don't start. And they've got a lovely word for this. They call it procrastination. If you keep putting something off, you will never reach your goal. If you don't start, you've never begun. So where are you going? If you lost momentum, let's say you started, but you lost momentum, you have to realize that's a warning sign that failure might be approaching. Have you ever gone outside and ran 5 kilometers? You are just starting to run. And when you get tired, you want to start walking and then you want to stop. But it's so much more effort to start running thereafter that most athletes just keep going because they know if they stop, it's almost like they don't even want to start again. That's the effort that it takes to get us to start again. So keep your momentum. We are at the end of 2020. Keep your momentum. You've been working hard. You've been reaching your goal. 2020 was not a write-off. It was not a failure. We've heard all the wonderful messages that have been going out from Golden Key, all the feel-good messages. There were good things that came from this year. But be sure, all of us, that we don't lose momentum. Don't lend out your ears to other people. I'm going to make an example here of two young ladies that I know. The one lady wanted to start a pre-primary school in the beginning of 2020. She didn't get off to a quick start, and before she knew it, it was the lockdown. She started to say she's not going to do it anymore. How is it viable? It's impossible. The whole world has changed. She'll never be able to attempt this anymore. While another friend of hers, which is also the same age as her, in the lockdown decided she was going to get a hold of all the resources she could find at her home and friends and family. And she decided that after the lockdown, she's going to be prepared because she wants to start a school in 2021. Needless to say, the lockdown has now, of course, taken us to level 1. And next year, she is going to start her own pre-primary school, where the other lady decided it's not worth it. She has lost momentum. She has to start again. You are not planting in the right field. Warning sign. Are you busy with things that you are supposed to be busy with, those things that you are good at? Are you investing in your 5-year plan? Are you doing something every day actively, even if it's just to phone someone or send that email or send that parcel that you've been meaning to send for your business? Don't plant in the wrong field. Don't take all of your energy and put it into the wrong place, because that's a warning sign. It will take you. Of course, like the man that went skydiving with us. It took him, the wind took him, of course, because he wasn't steering his parachute. Another warning sign, very important, do not compare your field to those of others. It's not important. Cheer your neighbor on. Cheer your fellow farmer on. Help where you can. Do what you can to assist and focus on your field. Are you this evening a sunflower field farmer that is trying to grow corn, that is trying to be a cornfield farmer? You are not going to know how to water that field correctly because you are busy on your own field. Stop comparing your life to that of others. Realize what is your goal, and remember your happiness is important. Very important this evening, look at your table. Look at your table. We are all farmers. We all plant. We plant for different reasons. We have different talents. We have different fields. We plant because ultimately we want to feed our families. Ultimately, we want to prepare for our future. Look at your table and make sure this evening you have the right people around your table, because your harvest makes its way to your table. That means it's in a place where it can influence you either positively or negatively. Think of the people around your table, the people that are around, people that have an influence in your life. Do they have a good influence in your life? Do they have a bad influence on your life? And get rid of the toxic ones. Make sure there's a clean crop that comes to your table. And make sure that you have people that uplift you, that believe in you and that support you. And you do likewise for them. I have a short testimony about Queenstown, and then I want to make one more illustration before we end. In 2016, we decided to take a congregation in Queenstown. I saw the picture on Google Maps and I was looking for the church. I actually drove around because every time I would end up at this dilapidated building, my GPS would take me to the same building. Needless to say, the picture on Google Maps was not the same as what I found. And immediately I saw there is a community project here. And I said to my children, there is a 5-year plan here. we need to rebuild this church, because in the state that it was in, nobody really wanted the church. So we started doing what we could. There were 6 people in the church at the time. There were no church pews. The previous pastor had sold the church pews. We found some garden chairs in the one storage room. We packed it out. We cleaned what we could. And there was 1 can of paint. Now you have to know, if you've got 6 members in a church, no maintenance material, the building is dilapidated. It doesn't look very good for the community if the church is in that state. So we decided we are going to just start this 5-year project. There was 1 can of paint, and I said to the children one day, well, I can make 1 wall look better at least. Don't know who heard about it, because we were only a few. There were 6 people and it was my family. But the next week, someone started dropping off paint and maintenance materials, and we were able to fix up that whole building. The tea hall next door, the manse, we were able to fix it because the community saw the goal. The community saw the objective. And I want to encourage you. If you are in a deep, dark place today, maybe you didn't have such a great year. Look at that 1 can of paint. Look at that 1 little light in the tunnel. And so I'm going to focus on that positive situation, that 1 little bright positive spark. And I'm going to let it become my reality. We've since grown in numbers. Of course, in 2020 with the lockdown, we couldn't have church for 5 months. But there was a good congregation that was built in that 5 years. The 5-year plan had worked, and we are ready to start a new 5-year plan. My last illustration is a kata illustration. I do karate with my children. We love it. It keeps us grounded. It keeps us fit and healthy. It keeps us disciplined. When you are in a place in your life where you have a feeling like you are just going through the motions, you are maybe trying to do what you need to do to get to the place of where you fulfill your 5-year plan. Maybe you feel like you are on a plateau and you don't see that anything is really changing. I want to encourage you by using a kata illustration, and this is what I end with. When we do kata, we do it a few hundred times before we go to the nationals. You practice for more than a year. You practice the same kata, and you go and do your kata, and it takes 5 minutes. In other words, you've practiced a whole year to perform 1 kata that is 5 minutes long. But there is a principle in that. Keep going. Keep perfecting your skill. Keep doing the things that you know how to do. Never stop. Winners work. I hope that this has been insightful for you. And I thank Golden Key for the opportunity to share this. And I give over to you, Natasha.
Thank you, Juanita. That has definitely been very insightful. And I think we can all take a lot from 2020. So with what Juanita has discussed with us today, I think December should be the time to reflect on everything you hope to achieve. And hopefully by the new year, you all have your 5-year plan ready and can put it into action in the new year. With that, we will open a Q&A session for a few moments. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Pastor Juanita Kapp, you may use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Just pop the message through and Juanita will try to respond to you now. So we will open the Q&A for just a moment. So if you have any questions, please use the Q&A function at the bottom. If you are afraid to do so now, you are more than welcome to send an email to southafrica@goldenkey.org, where all of the Golden Key staff are available to assist you with any questions you may have. It would appear that we do not have any questions. So I think, wait, I spoke too soon. Okay, we have a question from an anonymous attendee that said, should a 5-year plan be limited and refreshed every 5 years?
Well, it depends on what your goal is. Obviously, all visions and dreams and goals cannot be achieved within only 5 years. Some might vary. Your plan might take 10 years. So it's not to say that it has to be 5. It can be 8 or 10, depending on what you plan to do. Maybe your dream is to buy a home and to pay it off. That can take you 10 or 20 years. Everybody has different dreams, but I would encourage you, as an individual, we only live once. If you've achieved your 5-year plan, try another one.
Absolutely. We have another question that asks, what tips do you have to stop procrastinating?
Tips to stop procrastinating. I think we speak to ourselves often, and I think sometimes we demotivate ourselves when it comes to the things that we have to do. I found that I don't want to overtax myself on things that I've said I want to set out for the week. Start slow. Do one thing and then treat yourself to something that you like. Go for a walk or take a break or have that ice cream that you love. Reward yourself for the small little steps that you've taken. And before you know, you're going to walk and run. And then, none of us will keep up with you.
I have to agree. I do find that I stick to my goals if I do set myself a little reward. So those rewards help.
Awesome.
Another question. Given that the world is changing rapidly, would you say there is an advantage to setting shorter term plans than longer term plans?
I think because we are not very sure of what awaits, it might be good for us to set short goals and also long goals. So I would divide it into sections. I always tell the children when they attempt a task, you eat the elephant by using little pieces at a time, like building a puzzle of sorts. So I would say set up short goals for yourself that align and amalgamate to get you to those big goals that you are achieving, so that you can be flexible. If the world takes us for another curveball, at least you've attained a few steps, you've gone a little bit forward.
Okay, I think that would be it for the questions. So we will just give it another minute. If there's any last minute questions, please use the Q&A function. Otherwise, I think we could wrap it up. So I will leave it open, but if you do want to exit the chat or the webinar, sorry, you're more than welcome to click leave at the bottom of your screen. Juanita, judging by the questions, we have answered everything. I would like to thank you for your presentation for this. It has been very useful, and I hope that the members take a lot from this. So thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you, Golden Key. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Dr. Elmi. We appreciate you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, with that being said, I would say that we are going to end the session. So thank you very much for attending. To those still online, you can press the leave button at the bottom of your screen to exit.